She mocked my need for closeness to her friends. I simply replied, "Don't worry, I'll never ask again." It started one night in late spring. The windows were open, the soft hum of the ceiling fan filling the silence that had settled between us. I sat on the edge of the bed, scrolling through my phone, pretending not to notice the way Sophia lay on her side, her back turned toward me like always. That distance, both physical and emotional, had grown into something heavier than silence. For months, maybe even years, I'd been the one to reach out. The one who tried to hold her, to remind her that we were more than two people sharing bills under a roof. But lately, every time I tried, she'd sigh, roll away, or say she was tired. At first, I thought it was just stress. Then I started to wonder if it was me. That night, when I leaned closer and kissed her shoulder, she muttered without turning around, "Jacob, stop. Not tonight." I paused, staring at her outline in the dim light. "It's always not tonight, Sophia. Do you even care anymore?" Her response was a quiet laugh, a sharp, bitter one. "You sound pathetic, Jacob. You're begging for attention. Maybe if you acted like a man instead of whining all the time, I'd feel something." Her words hit me harder than she probably expected. I remember sitting there frozen, my chest tightening. I wanted to shout, to defend myself, to remind her of the years I'd stood by her, through her rough job transitions, through her depression, through everything. But instead, I said nothing because I realized then that I had been begging for love, for validation, for scraps of affection. The next morning, she acted like nothing had happened. She made coffee, hummed softly, and even asked if I wanted breakfast. I watched her move around the kitchen as if she hadn't just gutted me the night before. That's when something shifted inside me. A quiet voice whispered that I was done trying. I didn't announce it. I didn't make a scene. I just stopped. Stopped reaching out. Stopped asking. Stopped hoping she'd change. I focused on work, hit the gym again. Started reading at night instead of waiting for her. And funny enough, she noticed. "Why are you so quiet lately?" she asked one evening, her tone carrying a hint of confusion. I smiled faintly and said, "Just tired, I guess." But what I really meant was, I'm tired of being the only one who cares. It was the beginning of the end, though neither of us knew just how fast things would change after that. Days turned into weeks, and my silence started to bother her more than my begging ever did. She'd glance at me across the dinner table, expecting me to start a conversation, but I'd stay quiet, calmly eating my food. The man who once pleaded for her affection was gone. What replaced him was someone she didn't recognize, someone who no longer revolved around her moods. At first, she brushed it off, but then I noticed her trying. She'd ask, "Want to watch something together tonight? Heading to bed early again?" Her tone wasn't warm, though. It was cautious, like she was trying to understand what was going on. The real turning point came one Saturday night at her friend's birthday party. I hadn't wanted to go, but she insisted. "It'll be fun," she said, tugging my arm with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. I gave in. The place was packed, music low and laughter spilling from every corner. I stayed near the bar nursing a drink while she mingled with her friends. At one point, I overheard one of them, a tall brunette named Claire, teasing her. "So how's Jacob these days? Still all over you?" Sophia laughed, a loud, cruel sound. "Oh please. He used to beg for intimacy. Now he's probably too busy sulking to even try." The words hit me like a slap. But this time I didn't feel anger, just clarity. I realized then that I had been a character in her story, when she could mock when it suited her. But what she didn't realize was that her joke no longer had power. When she found me a few minutes later, I was already putting my glass down. "Ready to go?" I asked calmly. She blinked, surprised. "Already?" The night just started. "Yeah," I said, meeting her eyes. "For you, maybe, but for me it's over." She frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" I didn't explain. I just left. That night, I slept peacefully for the first time in months. There was no anger, no sadness, just a strange calm. The next morning, I packed a small bag and drove to my brother's place. When Sophia called, I didn't answer. Her text came later, confused at first, then frustrated. And finally, desperate. Jacob, what's going on? Are you really leaving over something stupid? I said, can we just talk? I didn't reply. For once, my silence spoke louder than anything I could have said. It wasn't revenge, it was release. But what came next, I didn't expect at all. 3 days passed before I saw her again. I turned my phone off, needing space to think clearly. When I finally came back home to grab a few things, she was there, sitting on the couch in her robe, eyes red and swollen. For the first time in a long time, she didn't look angry or proud. She looked lost. Jacob, she whispered as soon as I stepped inside. Where have you been? I didn't answer right away. I walked past her, heading toward the bedroom. Just getting my stuff, I said flatly. She followed me, her voice trembling. You're not really leaving, are you? I know I said some awful things, but I didn't mean them. I was just mad. I turned, meeting her eyes. No, Sofia. You did mean them. You've meant every word you've said for months. You made me feel small, unwanted, pathetic. And the worst part is, I believed you. Her lips quivered. Jacob, please don't do this. I messed up. I know I did. I sighed. It's not about one night or one comment. It's about every night I tried to love you, and you made me feel like a burden. You mocked me to your friends. You called me weak for wanting connection. I'm done begging for something that should have been ours to begin with. Tears filled her eyes. She stepped forward, reaching out to touch my arm. But I stepped back. I never thought you'd actually walk away, she whispered. That's the thing, I said softly. Neither did I. When I left that day, she didn't chase me. But the messages started coming a week later, long, emotional, and filled with regret. Can't stop thinking about you. I hate myself for what I said. Please, can we try again? I didn't reply to most of them. I'd already started living differently, running every morning.